us tonight. Glad you made it.
Oh, yeah. Glad to be here.
Thanks.
And just so everyone knows, let's gather at 6:45 Monday evening. Now the broadcast starts at 7, not 8. That's the rehearsal tonight. So come on at 6:45, just like you're doing here, and I'll send you a new link to use. And so we'll do a quick review, make sure everybody's on, connected well, and then we'll be able to start then at 7 o'clock. Okay. Now, y'all see my the document that I put out today on what it looks to me like we're going to be doing what we're going to be talking about Monday night. Y'all see that?
Yep.
That
I
look
didn't
up.
see it.
Huh?
I only have what Rick sent me. It's on election integrity, right?
Didn't I send that to you, Cheryl?
I don't know. You may have. I just didn't see it.
I think it's posted in Slack.
Yeah, you posted it in Slack.
Yeah, I didn't get anything from you today in Slack.
You know, I didn't send it to you, Cheryl. That's why
Well,
you didn't see it.
That explains everything, yeah.
Let me see if I can.
Because I just checked Slack before I got on here.
Okay, I think it's if I.
Here, you can probably read it from there, Cheryl.
I can't see that.
You what?
I just slacked it to you, Cheryl.
Okay. Not sure. Let's see. Exit full screen.
Well, anyway, while Cheryl's looking at that,
Did you leave it in the roundtable file, Dale?
yes, but I posted the Word document that I created. So, well, just kind of a quick review here of what I put on this thing is we are going to introduce we're going to do a roundtable discussion on the whole broadcast. We're devoting the whole broadcast to a roundtable discussion, and the roundtable will involve us, these individuals, these 7 individuals, with John being the master of ceremonies. Okay, and John, you're gonna come on and you're gonna welcome everybody to the round table, and you're going to tell everybody about the format that we're devoting the whole broadcast to a roundtable discussion, and we'll identify you as the master of ceremonies. You want to tell everybody to be sure if they want to submit a question or a comment that Ken will be monitoring those. Okay. Then we're going to introduce then the viewer call-in option. And we got to talk about this tonight. I think we need to get some plants out there to call in. But we're gonna introduce that option, that feature on this roundtable, which Ken will be monitoring. Okay. Then John's gonna point out that our roundtable discussion is based on our polling results from our Monday night broadcast, and we're going to do three topics tonight. First one's going to be election integrity, activism, and education. Okay. Then at the end of the broadcast, the last thing we'll do is to tell you how to join and volunteer for Convention of States. And John will go through his closing. Do we want to do a video? I hadn't thought about that, John. Do we want to do a video like we've done before, or?
Well, we're going to have those little commercials between the 3 segments.
Yes, we are. We will have a. I'm glad you mentioned it. We will have a contributor segment. I got a new one from Paul Phillips, a really good one, and I think that we'll do that between election integrity and activism, and then Ken's going to have one of yours, John, done for us. So we'll do one of yours between activism and education.
Okay.
Matter of fact, let me create something here. Okay.
Cheryl, while he's doing that, can you tell me what you do in Convention of States, Indiana, so that when you come on screen, I can say a word about who you are and why you're here?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm Region 7 captain.
Okay. That's good enough.
Okay.
Because I don't say a lot about, I just say, here's Ken Kashuba, our communications coordinator. Here's Cheryl Shopmeyer, our Region 7 captain.
Yes.
It just very brief introductions.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then now at this point you're just, let's see, you're just telling people, John, at this point you're just giving them briefly telling them what to expect. Okay, you're not going into any detail in these areas. You're just briefly going to tell them what to expect.
Yep.
And then we'll get into okay, have we mentioned the viewer call in, and I forgot, and I need you to mention the email address for people to.
You want that at the end?
No, let's put that up here at the beginning. We'll do it again at the end, but let's do that up at the beginning too. So we got the viewer call in and the email.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you'll get into just briefly talking about the polling results and the topics that we're going to be talking about tonight. Education. And then you'll be closing with telling people how to join Convention of States.
Yep.
Okay. And I guess we need to do you want to do that same video that we have used before to introduce that closing part?
Well,
No, wait, we used that video of the young people the last time, didn't we?
we did, yeah.
You want to use that again?
Sure, why not?
I'm not sure I'm not following what you're saying about that video. What is that you're doing there?
To start off John's final closing, where he asked people to join Convention of States, we have been playing a short video
Oh,
to start that final segment.
okay.
And the one we used we had been using a Mark Meckler video, but the last time in January we used that video showing the young people talking about how important Convention of States is.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now, then we get into the first topic on election integrity. And maybe we'll have some viewer questions that we can interject. Hopefully we will. But I would, well, here are the questions. Well, I put them on the sheet here, but here are the questions that John had picked out as plant questions for us to discuss. Where does Indiana rank in the 50 states in terms of secure elections?
Somebody better have the answer to that too.
We're 19. We're 19th out of 50, and we're tied with Arizona.
According to whom?
According
That
to
is-
that Heritage link, it was 14th.
Okay,
What I read
just
today.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was just on a recent poll from the polling group that Mark Meckler uses.
Okay.
Trafalgar.
Was it what is it?
Trafalgar Group.
Trafalgar. Yeah.
Robert K.
Yeah.
Haley.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Each.
I think I can find it again. Cheryl, you going to talk about that?
Well, I can. Rick sent a link in some of the comments he sent to me, and was it Heritage Foundation?
Yeah.
That said that Indiana was 14th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll find the article. I'll send it out to everybody, and you can see which one you want to use.
Well,
Okay.
we can use them both because different
Yeah.
organizations are going to have different standards. And the point is, we're in the top half.
Or at least
Now, if
in the top 20.
if you'd ask Chuck Schumer or Joe Biden, they'd say we're one of the worst. California is the best state.
What do they
New
know?
York.
Well, as a matter of having a discussion about that, I didn't even know that. Do we want to talk about what are the standards that they look at to?
Yeah, this article that I had listed the standards for rating, and actually
Yep.
it had Hawaii. It had Hawaii as the last because they don't even have ID requirements there.
Well,
A couple of weeks ago, I was at a Republican committee meeting, and I guess it was a month ago, and I met Holly Sullivan, the Secretary of State, and she said that our elections are have more integrity than the majority of states. I mean, she didn't give a percentage or anything or a ranking, but she said we are the most secure election, or one of the most secure states in elections in the United States. So
Yeah, I wish that
stricter
were true.
requirements and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff I'm afraid she doesn't know about.
right. The Secretary of
Well, I'm
State
sure.
has been rejecting a lot of information. It's like she's been listening to Fauci.
Oh dear. Yeah, she didn't address any of that stuff that night.
So ranking wise, we rank pretty well as far as secure elections. But what are some areas? What are some areas that we think need to be improved?
Yeah, that would come up under the last question that I suggested.
Okay.
Well, I
you
think
could-
that we should
Yep,
make sure that the machines definitely are working properly and not connected to the internet, and more foolproof as far as fraud goes.
Yeah, I think it was 40% of our machines are the Dominion type machines that are only on the internet and do not give a paper trail.
Yeah, I
Yep.
don't like that.
Paper ballots is one of the most important things that Indiana needs to do.
There needs to be a chain of custody and a paper
Yep.
trail, the whole bit.
Have
Yep.
Have any of you ever worked in the vote polling place on election
I
day?
will be May 3rd.
Okay. Well, I've done it last several years, and I don't know about other counties. I suppose they're all the same because, you know, when I go to training, I'm given explicit instructions. You know, the paper ballots that we use in this county have to be in a locked box, and a Democrat on my team has to observe me lock the box and has to go with me in the car to deliver the lock box to the courthouse. And then he or she stands there and we both sign a paper and watch an election official break the lock and open the box.
Well, did you hear the Ken's new content writer up in Hobart, Indiana? She went to the polling booth and wanted to be an observer, and they told her that, asked her what her party was, and it was Republican. Said only Democrats could be observers.
That's not good.
Yeah.
No.
I can tell you a little bit about my experience because I did that last year or last election. I went there and Greensgord, I didn't know any better, you know, but I went there as a Republican. So I get there and they're like, who's Republicans? I raised my hand and well, they had 3 Democrats, 1 Republican. The other Republicans didn't show up. They said, okay, well, we have to have 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats or we have to shut the poll down. So who else can be a Republican? So one of the Democrat people raised their hand and says, I'll be a Republican.
Wow.
So then we had 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. And then in the training that I went to, they talked about the machines being hooked up to the internet. And again, I was Greensgord. I didn't know any better. I just believed what they told me. They said the reason it was hooked up to the internet was so that enables people to anywhere in the county can vote anywhere. You don't have to vote in your precinct. You can, for the convenience of voters, you can vote anywhere in the county. And they hook it up so that if you vote in one place, they use the internet to tell all the other polling places that you've already voted, which sounds really great. Sounds good to me. But of course, I go there and we had the paper ballots. We put them in. They came through, and I signed as a Republican. The other person signed as a Democrat. Then the person put it in the machine, and then counted it up, and that's the way it worked. But you know,
Yeah.
What about the voter rolls? Isn't that still an issue? The registered voter rolls?
Oh
Probably.
yeah. Yeah, I did a little canvassing for an organization back in November, December, and another person and I went to several places, and in the majority of them, we found people were registered at that address who did not live there.
Well, and I think I mentioned this to you guys, you know, typical voter turnout, even in a presidential year, is, you know, 30, 40%. Hamilton County, Indiana, which is a predominantly Republican county, had 113% turnout of all the people that were on the voter rolls.
It's amazing. Wonder how they do that. A lot of dead voters there.
A lot of get out the vote effort.
So Indiana has a long way to go.
Mhm.
The frightening thing is, if we're one of the best states, and you see that, just think about what the states that are not so good.
Yeah. Okay, well, this is the kind of discussion I think we need to have, you know, on the broadcast, right?
Yep.
So that I think this is the kind of discussion that people are looking for. Somebody said that only, I don't know which one of you said only 30% of the people vote anyway.
That was Marty.
Yeah, I said in a presidential election, you're lucky to get 30 to 40% of the voters out to vote.
That's 30% of registered voters. That you're not
Right.
talking about 30% of the total population, right?
No,
What percent of the total population in this country participates in presidential elections, would you guess?
Ooh.
well, the last one probably 200 and some percent.
Depends on which state you were in.
Yeah.
Precinct.
Overall, what would you say?
Well, it's less than half of the people.
Yeah.
And so it's always a minority who elects the president.
Well, you got to drop everybody out that's below 18. So
Yeah.
I
don't have any idea, Dale, what the percentage is, but it's got to be way less than half.
that would be online somewhere, I would think.
It's a small, a much small. Well, the point was here's what why I'm asking this. It came up in this region meeting this town hall that I was in last night. I made the comment we were talking about voting and voters and so forth, and how many COS supporters there are nationally, and I made the comment that, well, right now we're just over 5 million supporters nationally, but that our CEO, Mark Meckler, has always said that he wants to get to 30 million. Have you ever heard him say that? He wants to get to 30 million supporters, Convention of State supporters. Yeah. Well, when you consider if we ever got to 30 million COS supporters, given then the percentage of people that actually vote in a presidential election, we could hold quite a strong position.
Yeah.
With regard to elections, right? I mean,
right.
and that's the objective.
Well, there's a lot of organizations out there that tell you that if you can command as little as 3% in a given election, you're going to win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 30 million would be about 10% of the total population of the country. So yeah. Anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Question that came up last night. Point that came up. Anyway, okay. So we'll hash that around, and then John, I think then we'll go to a contributor segment, and we'll just I'll just use Paul Phillips' contribution he just submitted. Very, very good. It's about a 5-minute video, but
enough time to run to the bathroom. All right.
Enough time to run. Don't go very far. But
it's right over there.
Okay. Don't take a shower or anything like that.
Turn your mic off, John.
Yeah. Yeah. Take it off, John, before you go. Okay. Then we'll come back, and then we'll get into activism. And this ought to be very, very interesting. First question is, what does it mean to be an activist? And second question is, do my elected officials care what I think about issues? And the last question is, what's the best way to make my voice heard? Y'all got some things you're thinking about you could say on these?
Well, I know some of the stuff that I have done.
Okay.
Basically, I call the state house and talk to my representative or senator. I've talking with the administrative assistants. We met with Bob Heaton's intern at the state house when we were there for the surge. So we have a connection with him and a connection with Senator Bassler's administrative assistant. I talked with her for a long time last week. So that's one way. I mean, email, sharing your opinion, leaving voicemail messages, or actually showing up for a meeting. face to face with them. Like we had a Cracker Barrel session a week ago Saturday, and that was pretty interesting. There were 4 of them there.
Okay.
You know, one thing we've heard is that one thing that they tend to actually read and look at are handwritten letters to them.
Yeah, that's because they get so few of them.
That's right.
Typewritten things, emails, phone calls, they get a bazillion of those. But a handwritten note.
Well, glad you could join us, George.
He's got a twin.
Well,
He's trying to get on twice.
George is reproducing in front of us.
can you hear it? Can you hear us, George? Can't hear you. You're muted.
It's all right.
I'm still backstage.
Okay. You're up
Nope.
on the screen.
We
You're on the
see you,
screen.
You're not backstage.
I can't. It says I'm still backstage. It's been kicking me out like 5.
Oops.
All I'm seeing on the screen is Dale in a spinning circle. So probably just my bandwidth. I can't get my Chrome.
Must be that new computer.
Now he's off again.
He needs to move into a city or something. I don't know. Out there in the country. Oops.
All right. What does it mean? What does it mean to be an activist? Let me ask this question of you.
Get your butt up off the couch.
Is being a district captain is that being an activist?
Yeah.
Well, I think so.
If you do the work of a district captain.
You're doing something you believe in.
Is testifying before a Senate committee, is that being an activist?
Yep.
Yep.
Is testifying before a Senate committee being more of an activist than a district captain?
Nope.
I think all those things are important. I mean,
Yeah.
it's putting action, where your thoughts are, and if you're talking about it amongst your friends, but you're doing nothing, all you're doing is complaining.
Yeah, I'd stay away from qualifying anything because we just want activists,
Well, my sense is, this is just my sense, and I'm not saying we need to talk about this on the broadcast, but my sense is that I do believe we've got some people that think that doing certain activities, I'll just kind of generalize it here, certain activities makes a person more of an activist than other activities. Okay.
Okay.
And
Well, if they want more, then they can go for that position or that role.
I know, but my sense is that if you're not you're looked down upon, or you're looked at in a different light if you're not doing these activities over here, because true activists do these activities.
Yeah, when we sent out this last voter voice, I got over 24 phone calls directly to me, and another dozen or so Slack or email messages, and I called everybody back or I emailed them back, depending on how they contacted me. But almost to a T, everybody's very frustrated at the federal government, and I said, look, I don't want to tell you what to do, but you will have much more peace of mind if you focus on your state and local issues. You'll see things get accomplished. You'll know you participated in things. I said, really, all you can do at the federal level is vote your senators out. Maybe sign some polls or sign some, petitions that, are going up there. But, it all grows from our grassroots at the local and state level. And almost everybody, I was really happy, but everybody kind of calmed down and goes, you're right, and I had several people start asking, what can we do? And so I told them about, the stuff that we're doing online, and I told them that we're working on some other things, and just go to the website, fill in that you're interested in doing something, and we'll be in touch.
Okay. All right. So next question is, do my elected officials care what I think about issues?
That's a loaded question. I wrote it. And I think basically the answer is no, they don't care unless there's a whole bunch of us speaking up. And I don't know if any of you have ever taken any training from the Foundation for Applied Conservative Leadership, FACL.
Yes.
FACL.
I did that.
And their core principle is your legislator won't respect you unless they fear you. And if a whole bunch of voters rise up as a voting bloc and say, listen, buddy, you do this or we're going to vote you out, that gets their attention. And so that, like I say, that's a loaded question, because basically they'll all be nice to you and they'll say, thank you for your opinion. But then they go and they do what party leadership tells them to do. Because if they don't, they won't get money for their reelection. Their district will get drawn out at the next redistricting that happens. Yeah.
It's all about the money. It's all about the numbers.
Yeah.
Money and
I think the reason that they won't listen to you is that really you have to develop a relationship with them.
Yeah.
And until they get to know you, right, when they see you come over and say hello at a meeting or something.
Yeah.
And you meet with them on a really regular basis. I think at least once a month. I think you eventually will be able to get in there, help them think about some bills, draft some things possibly, because any one of us as citizens can start a bill. We could all start writing a bill, and then we just have to contact them and get them to sponsor it, and get it to start moving forward. And most people don't even realize that. They think they have the magic pens down there, and that it takes them to write the bill. And but it takes trust, and with the part-time legislature and the fact that everybody else is busy with the regular life, not very many people have the time or are taking that opportunity to do that.
Yeah. And Marty, I agree with you, because until you build a relationship with that legislator, they really don't care what you think about things.
Yeah.
But once they get to know you and you get to know them, yeah, then they start to care.
Yeah. And in the meantime, you do have to get a lot of people to back something.
Yep.
That always helps.
I think you also have to be persistent,
Mm-hmm.
because I think when I first started going to the school board meetings and speaking, I think they thought that I was just going to be there a couple times and then I'd just go away. But I have been there every month. And a couple of meetings ago, I asked specifically about the ESSER funds, what they were doing with them. I wanted to see some kind of justification for the expenditures. And they actually produced a report at the last meeting and did a presentation explaining what they were doing with the money. So I think persistence is important too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Okay. All right. So we've covered that. Then I should, Ken, I need to have a John's Journal.
Yeah, I'll have that for you by tomorrow.
Okay. So we'll do another break and do a John's Journal contribution.
Let me see it in advance so I know what shirt to wear, because everybody will think I'm a fast change artist. If you
Well, it's gonna be one of those last 7 that you sent to me, John. So
those, the shorter ones.
you did you had a red shirt on, I believe it was. So don't wear a red shirt.
By the way, I'm working on Rick's intro as well.
Yes, we have a new contributor that's going to be joining us, and Ken's working on creating the shell for his, and it's called The Lion Truth, right? And he's already created 3 videos, so
All right.
he's I'm telling you, he's down and dirty. He lays it on the line, and he calls everyone on here a name, but I stood up for all of you. I mean, he's no, he does a good job.
Thanks.
So I'm anxious to see what Ken comes up with, Rick.
I got the creative juices going. I think you'll like it.
Uh-oh, Rick. Uh-oh.
If Ken's creating it, I'm definitely good with it.
But anyway, as far as Monday night, we'll use one of John's latest contributions, and those were all good. Those were all very good. I don't know which one he's going to have ready for us, but we'll have one. Okay. Then after that, then we get into the last segment is on education, and here are the questions we got on it. Why is Convention of States interested in education? What are the problems in education that need to be addressed? What can I do to help improve education in my local schools?
Here's where I'm hoping for a good story from Cheryl. Like you just told us a good story.
Oh, about the school board.
Yeah.
You've been to meetings. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, what happens in the schools affects everybody because they are training future generations of how to be a good citizen, or they're not.
Yeah. And several decades ago, the left got this idea and they started to infiltrate higher education, and now it has trickled down to the elementary schools.
Yeah, you get those kids convinced now that it's great to conform. They're going to live the rest of their lives that way. I see it every day with people driving in their cars by themselves with a mask on.
Yeah.
I know you still see that. You do
We
see
saw
that.
one today.
I see it. Yep.
Yep.
I said, what is wrong with these people?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I also had a school board member come up to me after the last meeting and lecture me about what a good school board member does. And she's the liberal who is totally mask crazy, although she doesn't wear one at the meeting. And I mean, she is the one that flipped the parents off after the school board meeting in August at the beginning of school. Yeah, that was an interesting conversation, I must say. I think she's afraid I'm going to run and get her seat because she's up for re-election.
You ought to file just to give her fits.
So, one of the thoughts we had from the Telepatriot program is we got to get wherever we have people being reelected in these school districts. We've got to get some polling together that we can send to the candidates that are running and have them answer, like they did in Houston. I thought that was pretty effective. 4 or 5 questions that can then be distributed on voter voice as information, for the candidate selection, because these things are so little advertised and nobody knows who these people are. So
Right.
if we put that basic information in people's hands, it'll give them much more ammunition to go in and understand who they want to vote for.
How do we go about doing that? Is that something we need an organization to produce, or is that something we can just do on our own?
No, we can do that within Convention of States. We put the poll out. We can do a Telepatriot call to have everybody remind everybody about the voter time, and then when you hang up, it will email them the results of the poll. Or we can put it out on a email blast and a voter voice thing that tells everybody about the vote and attaches the poll. We just need to get the polling together. So if you guys can get your people in your area, in your network, to say, what would we ask these people? That's also another good reason for a town hall. Invite them all to a town hall. And you have to go after everybody. They don't have to show up. They don't have to answer the poll, but you have to be able to show that Convention of States says you have to be able to show that you ask them to participate. Just like when you have a town hall, regarding a candidate or something, you have to ask both Republican and Democrat and Independent, if there's one running, to come to the town hall. If they don't show up, that's their problem. But
only the ones that are running, correct?
Yeah, you want to get the ones that are running or running against them. In the case of that one in Houston, there were 4 seats open, and I think there were 5. If I remember right, I think there were 5 candidates running, and the results were we got, we'd like to think that we heavily influenced getting 2 new candidates on that board. It was a 7-person all liberal board, and we got two conservatives that were on the poll as answering the polling questions, in a like-minded way.
Now, is that something I have to work with national or with you, or who do I
No,
just
we
want to make sure I'm doing this right.
Yeah, we can set it up. We can set it up you're region captain. You can do email blasts, right?
Right.
So those go into national to get reviewed. And so if we do a poll and we get the poll distributed and we get answers from the candidates, we can put an email blast together that says, we did a polling. We asked these questions. These are the responses from the candidates. You name those candidates. And then we can attach that to the email blast and send that out to everybody in the state. Certainly everybody in your region. Okay. But bottom line is you can then say call or vote, your choice based on, hopefully the attached to you can't tell them how to vote, but you can point to the results of the data and say, just please get out and vote, and that'll go up to national. It'll be reviewed. I think very, as long as we stick with those things and don't direct anybody. We're just giving them data and telling them to go vote. That will get reviewed very quickly, and they'll approve it, and it'll go out.
How soon does that need to happen?
Well, they did it. Houston School Board was I think they said the 3rd or 4th largest school district in the country, and we hit over, I think it was 20-some thousand people that a polling company had identified people based on their voting records were, considered like-minded to Convention of States or conservatives, and we hit over 20,000 people on that call, on that Telepatriot effort in that school district. So, you don't have that many in Indiana, typically in Indiana school districts, obviously, but they did that. The 2 weeks, they were running that for 2 weeks prior to the election day.
Okay. Well, I think what they have until the end of June or July to file. So maybe we'll wait till summer, but.
Oh yeah. There's time to do it because they get elected in November. So.
Right.
Okay. All right. That will be the education segment. Now, John, you're going to have to kind of monitor the time on each of these.
Yeah.
Don't worry about sticking to that 60-minute time limit. It's okay if we go over that. Okay. But I think we should, obviously there's some point in time when we've gone too long, but let's let's take whatever time it takes to cover the topics here that we're trying to talk about.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, Dale, do you want to cover anything else on election? Or have we had any questions from people regarding like critical race theory, social emotional learning issues, um, sex education, books in the schools, things like that? Has anybody else brought up any specific issues?
No. But that certainly would fall into the education part
Yeah,
here.
and if anybody wants, that this Amendment 34 for House Bill 1134 will give us some
A
talking
quick
points.
summary of that one, Marty, might on your part might be beneficial. I think
Yeah,
that would
that's
be
what I was going to
beneficial.
say. I'd be happy to summarize that, especially if there's a question. I would think if we get some callers that some of that will come up because those were the people that at least emailed and called me.
Is it true that they gutted that bill and pretty much took out most of what the House passed?
Well, they did, but then on the last day, they put it back, they put a lot of it back in. The
Oh,
same person, the same senator, Linda Rogers from Granger, that gutted it in Amendment 20, submitted Amendment 34 the day after we, Paul said last night on the state's call, past state's call, he said, unless anybody tells them any different, we had 380 people call their senators from our voter voice on that the night before she submitted Amendment 34, which put it back in.
oh, good.
So much of it didn't get it all, but much of it's in there.
That's not the kind of stuff the media shares with us,
No,
normal folk.
and it passed, and it's going to the Senate floor for final vote. So
Yeah, I haven't heard that part on the local news.
Nope. And you probably won't.
And a lot of disgruntled teachers union got up and left and walked out and were standing in the hall scratching their head like, what do we do now? Because a week before, 5 busloads of them showed up to put pressure on the substantially Republican committee and scared the pants off of them.
Well, they were trying to. Two of the ladies from the Indiana schools was trying to influence our discussion with Bob's administrator or intern. They were eavesdropping and then tried to hijack our conversation. So that was fun.
Yeah.
The topic on local news around here today was the constitutional carry.
What'd they say?
Well, that of course they were presenting all the people that were opposed to it.
Yeah. Of course they were.
Yeah.
What happened on that bill?
It passed through the committee. They after almost 11 hours of testimony and amendments, and then promptly it passed 11-0, and then promptly got reassigned yesterday to another committee. And we don't know what that means. I got meetings on Monday to try to find out what that means.
I don't understand. If it passed that committee, why do they assign it to another committee? I don't understand.
Well, there was some testimony that identified some flaws in the juvenile code, and Indiana apparently has something that was very similar to something that Kentucky had, that based on the juvenile misdemeanor code, depending on what that is and what other circumstances are, they could fast track a juvenile because of the direct law. Misdemeanor such and such, juvenile had this, did this. Well, that fast tracks them right to the adult court, and they're tried as an adult. And in that, it would put more pressure on a kid who later in life might have never done anything else, and might have even gotten his sentence expunged, and he still wouldn't be able to request to carry a handgun. So this juvenile court attorney said that he spends, half of his life defending people who are now in their 20s and 30s who, as a kid, did something stupid, have had a perfect record since, but because of what they did, they got tried as an adult. It turned into a felony, and they still have trouble getting jobs or, applying for various things. And he goes back and, gets the court to review their whole thing. So he said this law, as it was written, was going to make it worse. So I think that might be why they passed it out, but then got it reassigned. But I don't know what chances the bill has at this point, because they're voting Monday and Tuesday. I found out today in the Senate floor for these bills that have gone through approval in both houses and still had amendments to them. So it's not going to leave much time to get something to happen really on it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that'll be the final segment, and then John, then we'll close out that part of it, and we'll go into your closing on joining Convention of States. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll play the video, and I'll while the video is playing, then I'll pull everyone off of here except you. And when the video's over, then it'll be you, and you'll close out the roundtable, the meeting. Okay.
Yep.
Now let's talk about the call-ins. Do we want to? We're going to announce the call-in number right here at the beginning of the broadcast. Do we want to plant some callers? Do you want to have a planted caller for each of these segments, or how do you want to do this?
Well, Ken's worked hard on it, and if it's ready to go, I think we ought to do what we can to promote it. And a planted caller asking a relevant question can be quite effective, I think.
Well, and hopefully we'll have some real call-ins. that would be ideal. And Ken, if we get a real call-in, then whoever, then we don't need one of the plants, but we could go ahead and do that too, I guess. That otherwise that could get confusing. But should we? Do you want us to line up a plant caller for each of these segments, one for each?
I think it makes sense to have one on standby anyway. If we get some other calls, we don't necessarily need to use them, but if we don't, or we've got
Right.
somebody.
I think you've got plenty of meat in what you're going to discuss. That we're not going to lack for things to talk about. But if you want to plant call, or as Gary says, one in standby, I can do that if you want.
You can do that. What do you mean?
Well, I'm not going to be in the roundtable, so I can do the call if you want. But
Yeah, you are in the round table.
I am.
Yeah, you are.
Surprise.
You are now.
You're part of this state directors team. You're part of the executive group now.
You've been promoted.
Well, I'm
You'll have
glad you
to-
said that, because I didn't.
Didn't you
didn't
notice
realize-
that it increase in your pay?
I did notice that, but I wasn't going to say anything.
And an increase in your meeting schedule.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that.
Yeah, Rick, you're one of the group here now.
Oh, well, I guess I better figure out answers to the questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad you.
Is this
asked
going to
that.
be? Is this going to be just like an open forum, or is there going to be some type of? I mean, John, are you going to call on us, or how's that going to work?
Yeah. I'll call out each person who's on the screen, and I'll have a little list here, and I'll go around so that everybody gets a chance, and
Can you
it'll
bring-
just be kind of random unless one of you has a question that you really want to answer. Let me know ahead of time, and I'll make sure to say, okay, Cheryl, tell us what you think about this.
I never
Some-
looked at StreamYard, but is there a hand raising capability?
No, there's not. No.
Well, what we did last month worked really well. When somebody wanted to talk, they just put the hand up,
Yeah, that'll work.
and I called on them. And I'd like it if Ken would do that, if he has a caller, if he gets a caller lined up, Ken, if I could just see your hand or the number one or something, that'll tip me off to say, hey, Ken, who do you have on the line there?
Yeah.
I'll have to get a big red flashing button back here that goes off.
There you go.
There you go. I like it.
Okay. Yeah, I think when John, I think if somebody wants to answer the question, go with that person rather than calling on each individual.
Yeah, if I see a hand, that one gets called.
I think probably will be able to cover the answer to the question with whoever's wants to speak up and talk about it. So the only other if someone else wanted to say something, it might be to present maybe a different viewpoint on the question. But
Yeah.
I think we'll be able to cover it okay.
And I like different viewpoints. We don't have to argue with each other, but we could say, here's a contrasting viewpoint, just to put it out there.
Yeah.
Because we want to make it interesting. We want to capture viewers' attention.
I was thinking that we would maybe ask Dale Tipton to be a plant call-in. He tends to attend these broadcasts regularly. Is Susan going to be available, Rick? Would Susan be available, you think, to be a caller?
Probably. I imagine she could, yes.
Who else is a regular viewer? Can you think of anyone else that we could talk to? Be a plant.
Jerry sometimes is on.
Yeah, he is. Diane Jones, does she view this frequently?
I've not seen her on for a while anyway.
Well, why don't we just go with these two? Let's go with Dale and Susan.
That should be.
Okay. Pardon? What?
That should be plenty, I would think.
Yeah. Let's go with those two, and I'll contact them. Well, Rick, you can talk to Susan, right?
Yeah, I'll talk to Susan.
She hopefully is nearby you there.
No, we're at the other end of that. She likes to play music when she's working, and I can't I can't stand that. So,
Just let us know which segment she wants to be a plant. Election integrity, activism, or education. Okay.
I imagine election integrity, but I'll ask her and I'll send you a message.
Okay. All right. Send a message to myself and Ken so he'll know what to expect.
Okay.
And I'll call Dale Tipton and set him up with the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's it, folks.
Okay.
Do I have any questions or comments or anything?
Now I'm looking forward to this open format. I think it'll hopefully encourage people to just jump in and talk.
Yep.
Me too. Believe me, I'm hoping this takes off, works well, and I'm glad Cheryl's going to be part of the group this time. We'll have a different person, another person next month, and try and get some different faces involved here and get the more faces involved that we can.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get just a regional captain first of all as we go through them, and then I'll start working on district captains unless somebody's got somebody that wants
Yeah.
to.
That's a good idea. Stay with the region captain. Good idea. Okay. And maybe we could get some volunteers to do this. We could go right on out into the leadership and get others involved. So.
If you got, this is kind of an impulse thought here, but if you got somebody that's done like an outstanding job for the month, we didn't invite them to, it should become an honorary type position to come and participate in the team. So if you got somebody who's going to stand out for the month, let me know and we'll invite them.
What would you think about after the session's over with? Give these guys a month or two to settle back into their job, but get a representative or a senator on board to just take questions about how the session went, what they thought about it, and almost turn it into like a town hall meeting.
Mm-hmm. That'd be good.
Yeah. As just as one of these segments, Marty, is that what you're talking about? Or
yeah, as invite them to be a part of the roundtable, and people can ask them questions, or they could participate in other questions that come up.
Okay,
they could be a special guest, sure.
Yeah,
yeah,
like Cheryl is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Good one would be my state senator, Mike Gaskell. He was a COS volunteer, and he helped us lobby to get the resolution passed in 2016 before he became a senator.
Yeah.
Okay. He's
a big believer in COS.
Now, keep in mind, you're talking about doing something like what we did with Mike Braun, except that he would be part of the roundtable here. He would be part of this group. We could pre-record that if necessary too. So
we could.
It'd be nice if it's live. Yeah, I think it'd be nice to have it live and have them participate as a regular person answering questions about how a bill gets passed or what challenges they face or any of that stuff,
And we could take call-in questions as well as I agree that would be the best, but I'm if we run into scheduling problems and people are not able to be available on this time slot, doing a pre-recorded thing is also a possibility.
Hey, everybody's available to practice on Friday nights and then to be followed up on Monday for the rest.
That's right. Most people are. There are a few that
you have 150 legislators to choose from. We ought to be able to find one that's available on
exactly
Monday night, live and in person.
I'd say to think about the fact that a lot of these people are going to have primary opponents, and it might be easier to get them to come on after the May 3rd primary because they'll be campaigning, especially toward the fourth Monday of April.
Yeah, and there's another side of that coin though, because if they're running against somebody, then COS likes to have you invite both sides of the equation.
Right.
Yeah, we have to invite everybody.
Yeah, you might want to focus on somebody who is not running for a re-election at this point right now, and then we do at the town halls. We get like the Republican and Democrat, or if there's no Democrat running, 2 Republicans or whatever it is, and have them answer questions, and because they like it when you invite everybody that's running for that position.
I see. Yeah. Well, for representatives, they're all up every 2 years.
Right.
The Senate, it's only half of them this year. because they have a 4-year term and they're staggered every 2 years.
Right.
Okay.
Guys, that's it for tonight. And everybody stay healthy, and we'll see you Monday evening.
6:45.
And I will be sending a new link out since I had to record this. So look for a new link, and I'll be sending that out in Slack.
Okay. Have a good weekend.
Okay.
Bye.
See ya.
Oh, Ken, can you stay on?
Yeah, I'll put in some OT.
Yeah, I figured.